So when you drive at night, you have to turn on your lights of the car. And I normally, what I do is when I drive at night, I look at the car at the front of me, I see where he is driving, and I sort of follow him. I look at his backlights, so that gives me an indication of where I'm driving, and then also I look the lane I'm driving in. So I see the white line on the left and the right line on the right. So that's how I drive at night. That's what I look at, because it's more difficult when you drive at night. It's harder to see. It's more difficult to see the cars. And also when I drive at night, I also look at the cars coming from the distance. So if I look at that, then I can see where the road is a bit as well. Because if you can look at different things where you're driving at night, then it makes it a bit easier. Of course, you have to drive in the lane where you are, stay between the lines, look at the car at the front of you, look at his lights, but also look at the lanes, the lane on the left, lane on the right, and where you drive in the middle, and also look at the cars coming from the opposite direction. I look at them as well, because when I look at that, then I can see also a bit where I'm driving. So when you drive at night, just remember these things that I'm just saying, because that will make it a bit easier to drive at night. And yes, don't drive too close to the car in front of you either, because if it suddenly brakes or stops, or then it can be maybe an accident, or you could hit it from the back if you drive too close to the car in front of you. And also with kangaroos, be aware of them. It's very rare they'll jump on the road, but sometimes it can happen that at night a kangaroo, or I've even heard of stories that people hit a cow or cattle or something at night, because the cows, they got out of the paddock and they got on the road, and that can cause an accident. So be aware when you drive at night, is look good and make sure where you're driving, and then it will be okay. Turn your lights on at night, and of course turn them off once you have reached to your destination of where you're going. You turn
There's
the
no
lights
street
off.
light here, only reflector.
No, there's no street lights here. The only thing they have is a bit of a reflector on the left hand side of the road, and they have got it in the middle of the road. So yes,
Not much of street.
no, you can't see much. I can see a little bit. So when you look at the line in the middle, you know, try and look and see if that can guide you where you're driving. And yeah, sometimes you can look at the reflectors on the road to see where you're driving, just to make sure that you stay in your lane. When you drive at night, you don't want to go over the line, or you know, that's no good. You have to stay in the middle of the road so that you see where you're driving. You only go over the lane or the line when you're turning, or if you go in another direction or something, where you go. So it's now a red light. I'm slowing down, and yeah, I just have to wait till it's green again. So oh, with driving at night you have a normal beam, but you have a high beam as well. See, if I press my light, which I turned on, if I put that forwards, then that's a high beam.
What's the high beam?
Well, you turn the high beam on when you drive on a road which is dark, but if there's not many cars in front of you, or if there's no cars coming from the other side of the road, then you can turn your high beam on and you will get more light going onto the road. But you have to turn the high beam off when cars from the other direction come, because otherwise you will blind them. They can't see. If I put my high beam on, it's difficult for them to look at the light, because it's a bright, sharp light, and that's called high beam. So you can turn it on when there's no car coming from the opposite direction, or when there's not many cars in the front. If a car comes from the other side and you've got it on, you just turn it off, and then when the car has passed, then you can turn the high beam on. If another car comes, you turn it off, and then after that you can turn it on. So that's how you can drive like that, with a high beam, that you can see more. There's more light on the road with a high beam. So when you drive on a dark country road somewhere, then it is an idea is put your high beam on, because it's easier to see the road and you know where you're driving. If you see a car coming from the opposite direction, turn it off.
But normally you're just using the low beam.
Yeah, normally, like now, I've just got the normal headlights on. That's what I you know, that's what you normally have, just a headlight on when you drive at night. And yes. See, I turn my high beam on, and you see the blue light. Oh, you can't see it now, but there's a blue light that comes on at the dash. And when that blue light is on, then you can see that the high beam is on. But you see, I don't need the high beam here, because there's street lights, so there's now more lights on the road. So I don't need no high beam. You only need it on darker roads, country roads, or wherever you drive. It's dark and there's not many other cars, then you can turn on your high beam.